Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our thematic Apply AI webinar focused on how the Commission aims to accelerate AI adoption across the agri-food sector. My name is Andrea Hack, and I'm a stakeholder communications expert here in the AI office, and I'll be your moderator for today. I'm joined here today by Pierluigi Londero, who is the head of unit for data governance at DG Agri, and Doris Marquardt, who is the Program Officer for EU Policies at DG Connect, with a particular focus on agriculture. Now, they're here to provide us with deeper insights into how we can translate innovation into impact on the ground, and how to enhance sector competitiveness and public goods. Now, as this webinar is interactive, we would really like to invite you to share your questions with our speakers here today. You will now see a QR code appearing on your screen, which you can use to share questions throughout the session, and we will get to them at the end. So I'll give you a couple of seconds just to pull out your phones and join us in this conversation today. Now, while we will not be able to enter into a full debate today, I am confident that you will leave this session with a deeper understanding of the key elements that are most important to your work. Now, with that, Doris, perhaps you could kick us off with a quick reminder. What is the Apply AI strategy, and why does it matter for businesses, innovators, and society in Europe?
Yes, thank you. So let's briefly look back and set the scene. So the Apply AI strategy was adopted by the European Commission last October with the ambition to, let's say, strengthen the competitiveness of businesses and to increase the uptake of AI-based solutions. So bringing the supply of AI-based solutions and the demand together. So for instance, we have many innovators bringing AI-based solutions on the market or providing it. And on the other side, many companies looking for solutions to increase, for instance, or streamline business processes. And those two sides, they should be brought together. So and at its core, the strategy focuses, for instance, on an Apply AI first policy, and the organizations are encouraged to consider the opportunities and AI technologies offer in their strategic decisions. So in other words, the companies are encouraged to reflect on the opportunities and risks going along with AI and to consider it and how far they can deploy it and have an added value in their business rollout. The strategy also established a clear roadmap to stimulate uptake of AI industrial verticals as well as in the public sector. So, and one of the sectors is the agri-food sector we are discussing today. We have a number of flagship actions which are set out in the strategy. So flagship actions which are really focusing on competitiveness or societal impact. And I'm confident we will discuss those flagship actions today. And let me recall, the AI strategy was developed following a participatory approach. So really bringing the stakeholders and providers together, discussing use cases and revealing the pros and cons. And personally, I would like to say it was a great process. We generated many insights and many good contributions, which I really would like to acknowledge. And I'm confident that we will reflect on some of those insights today in the
Absolutely. Thank you for setting the scene, Doris. Pierluigi, I would love to know from your perspective, how can AI help to increase performance in agriculture, and more specifically, competitiveness and the situation of farmers?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I think today you already see digitalization at play in many parts of the economy, including in agriculture. And you see that digitalization has a positive impact on competitiveness and productivity. The most clear example is precision farming tools, which allow to increase productivity and reduce the use of inputs and so costs and impact on the environment. But there are other examples in the livestock sector, in other area like robotics and also on administrative burden. When you add to digitalization the AI potential, this brings the entire efficiency to another level. However, what is important to keep in mind is that this digitalization and this artificial intelligence must work for everybody. So we have a diverse agricultural sector, so we pay attention that we don't create or exacerbate digital divides.
Mm-hmm. And Doris, I understand that under the Apply AI strategy, this also includes a flagship action on a marketplace for AI-based solutions. What is the idea behind this?
Yes, thank you. Let's call the attention to the marketplace, because it would really be nice if stakeholders would follow the evolution of the marketplace. So the main idea behind the marketplace, we could also describe it as an app store, maybe to make it very feasible, is to bring the AI-based solutions to the farmers, to the actors of the agri-food supply chain. So we know, and we have heard it just, that AI-based tools have great potential for the sector. On the other side, in Europe, if we compare it to other regions in the world, the uptake is still lower. And we have, to some extent, also analyzed and looked at the challenges. So one is, for instance, the trust in AI-based solution. Another, for instance, is interoperability. And interoperability makes it challenging for the user to switch, for instance, applications, to use the data, the agriculture data, in one app and another app, and they are bound to, let's say, the application provider, which comes normally as a package with machine. So you buy a tractor, so you get a farm management information system offered, and then you are linked to it. But maybe a farmer, he or she, might be interested in an application for business management, for social farming, or for organic farming. And it would be great if the farmer could easily use this potential of AI-based solutions and switch the applications and have a portfolio of applications. Because on the other side, we have a number of innovative solutions, partly developed under European Union-funded research and innovation projects. Yes, they are very inspiring, but they do not reach the market. And that is a pity. And the marketplace is really about bringing those two sides together and then increasing the visibility for the, let's say, innovative solution, which are AI-based, and help on the other side the end user to find the right tools, and also allowing for interoperability and switchability between applications. So if I should now sum it up, the App Store or the marketplace is for farmers, advisors, agri-food stakeholders on the one side to really increase trust in, uptake of, and also the user satisfaction of AI-based tools, then subsequently also contribute to increase the performance of the sector and improve also the market access and innovation potential for the app providers and the visibility. And overall, an increase in the portfolio of AI-based solution on the market. And what are the key elements for the App Store which we would propose from our side? First of all, what needs the end user? A search engine. A search engine finding the right app, really serving the purpose, for instance, of the farmer. What her interest he sees. And secondly, AI is sometimes a little bit for a non-IT person like a black box. The farmer would like to trust the AI application. We have to manage to make it feasible. What is behind it? What are the objectives driving the AI application so that the farmer can trust the application? Ideally, such a marketplace includes a review mechanism, making it feasible for the farmer what is behind it, and then she can select the applications. And finally, what we need is interoperability, because without interoperability, the switchability between the applications would not be possible.
Absolutely. And here, Luigi, diving deeper into this topic, from the perspective of the farmer, how concretely can the marketplace help to run a farm, do more for the environment, sell products, or manage administrative tasks? What are sort of the advantages and the challenges to this marketplace?
Yes, so Doris already explained the advantages of such a platform or marketplace. Concretely, when we hear the farmers, they would like tools that bridge the gap between innovation and practical systems that work with the existing tools they have on their farms. So we have to pay attention to that. an AI marketplace also, as Doris mentioned, the possibility to compare and the search which tool is better for me, and the cost of finding and comparing the costs. So the advantages, it's beyond discoverability and trust. We also see that farmers care that their data is treated fairly, and so they can expect that the data are they reach a certain standard, so the data flows according to non-binding model contracts, some kind of contractual clauses that are standardized and that take care to remove the risk that they don't buy in. So the challenge is, as was mentioned before, interoperability. Farmers don't want a new app which doesn't talk to the existing apps or the existing tools and machinery they have. The cost is also a barrier, and inclusiveness, so it has to be accessible to everybody. However, the policy that we have in place, and the Common Agricultural Policy in particular, tries to cover these risks, and we have support for investment support, training, advisory. So there is already an effort to try to bridge that gap. In conclusion, I think the AI platform is a very good idea, and the farmers are, I guess, waiting to see it happen, because it can bring searchability and discovery. But it has to work to deal with fragmentation and lack of interoperability.
Definitely. And you also touched on the issue of data, which of course, to drive innovation, one thing that we really do need is availability of data within the agri-food sector. So Doris, I understand that the Commission has launched a number of actions to accelerate this availability of data within this sector. Can you name a few of them for us?
Yes, thank you. So I think you really matched it. So we launched, let's say, over the years, strategically, a complementary set of actions, let's say, facilitating the acceleration of availability of data for AI. And maybe let's briefly reflect why it's so essential. So we need the critical mass of data in a high quality and quantity for AI to have the effective results, but also to lower the costs. Because if, let's say, AI providers have to annotate data, to bring it together, to reformat the data sets, then we really have a challenge, and it drives the cost. So for instance, if we have European-wide data sets in a common format, for instance, for land use data, which is quite essential in agriculture, then it reduces the cost if it's readily available in a common format, and not an AI provider has to reformat it for each region in each year. So imagine we have 1,000 AI providers, they have all to do the job again. That is already a cost factor. So, and against this background, I would like to point to 3 initiatives. So the first of all, the Common European Agriculture Data Space. So the agriculture data space, and I think we have a slide that, oh, the first slide. We have one, yeah, exactly, thank you very much. So the Common European Agriculture Data Space is now evolving, building on the potential of many existing data sharing initiatives already out there in Europe. So we have a mapping, more than 400 data sharing initiatives are already out there. And what is the aim is to facilitate trusted and secure data sharing, and also to facilitate interoperability, which we already mentioned. So, and data sharing has different purposes to reduce administrative burden along the value chain. We need data exchanges, and the Common European Agriculture Data Space is now, let's say, set up by a team of 35 partners across 15 countries, and they are working on interlinking and building on the experiences already gained with data sharing initiatives at regional and national level, and then to have a common European agriculture data space. Why does it matter to have a European level initiative? For instance, in agriculture, we have value chains. They do not stop on borders. They go beyond. And we, as a consumer, for instance, want to track our products and want to have information. So there, for instance, it's really relevant to have an international focus. On the other side, also for AI, as mentioned as an example, European data sets are an asset for the European market in the field of data and data sharing. So you saw the one slide on the use cases, and you see, if you're interested, to follow it, the development of the use cases, which are now, let's say, fostered by the initiative of the Common European Agriculture Data Space. For instance, on risk management or on accounting, risk management. Why do we need data? So the farmer would like to look ahead, climate change adaptation. For prediction, we need a lot of data from different farms across regions to compare it and then to have approaches for the farmer and inform the farmer, for instance, through AI-based solutions, what may come. So to look ahead, to provide foresight, and to help them to adapt to climate change or accounting. So we all hate accounting to some extent, or many persons hate accounting. And the farmer is challenged to have it from several sources and bring it together, and on the other side he may have to, or she may have to, share it with several third parties. So here a data space can really help, and if it's a common format across Europe, then it facilitates the data sharing along the value chain and also accelerates AI. So that, I think, are the key points for the Common European Data Space. So other initiatives you cannot now look at the detail, but you may follow up on are, for instance, the testing and experimentation facilities for AI, where we really go and help the innovators to look how the, let's say, innovative solutions already work, like for instance a weeding robot, and then to make it ready for the market and provide feedback to the innovators what has to be considered to achieve the last step, the last mile to go to the market. Or from the regulatory side, there is, for instance, an act on high-value data sets, where member states have to make available certain data sets in a common format. That also helps to boost AI and to make it happen.
And Pierluigi, I would love to also have your perspective on this from the DG Agri side.
Yes, it's already impressive, the list that Doris just mentioned. We think it's important to unlock the data. More data and quality data can develop better digital solutions, and in particular AI solutions. So I would like to mention very briefly, if I can, some actions where we are more, let's say, directly involved, and others where we rely more on the research and the academia. So in the first group, I think there are actions to increase access to data, discoverability and interoperability. So I will start with a project which is dear to me, is the Agrifood data portal that the European Commission, DG Agri, has online. We have it now for 10 years. It's a portal where you can find data, very little text. And we have 500,000 visitors every year. Many of them are humans, but more and more machine to machine is happening. It contains a lot of data on markets, prices, production. We have information on indicators about the common agricultural policy. We have microdata of farmers level, etc., etc. So it's a wealth of information so big that even me, that have been developing this, I don't know anymore where to find the data. So we developed an internal data bot, an AI tool, to help me and the colleagues to find the information, to make analysis, to provide graphs. So this is our first AI tool, and I think it's the first data bot in the Commission. Maybe also to mention that in the agriculture sector, in the public domain, let's say, there is a lot of data. It's an old policy. We have a high standard of accountability. So there is a system of payments to farmers, application, payments and controls, which is very rich in data, and which we are trying to use more and more to other purposes. We are also working on many projects to try to boost interoperability, but not only the others have to do interoperability, also ourselves. We have systems which have been built over the decades that they don't talk to each other. So how to make them talk? So we have a big cooperation with the Joint Research Center of the Commission. And last but not least, among the actions where we are directly involved, we are trying also to write law So we are proposing in the Common Agriculture Policy for the next programming period that the Member States should set up a data governance authority to implement interoperability. This is very important if we want to do all the things we are discussing here. And then to conclude the part on research, we have a lot ongoing, of course, also there. But I would like to mention, let's say, more on a novelty, which is the partnership. So this is a research Horizon Europe partnership, agriculture of data. This is a new project. It started in October last year. It involves most countries in Europe and other countries as well. It's for the next 7 years. It's a big budget co-financed by the European Commission to work around data and impact with data. And of course, beyond this new thing, which is this partnership agriculture of data, which I invite you to look at, there are also many projects, Horizon Europe project inside the work program on research 26 and 27. So there is quite a lot, I think.
Definitely. And you know, Pierluigi, I understand that there's also an action on capacity building for foundation models. Now, I'd love to dive deeper into this. What exactly are the opportunities that might arise for foundation models? And why is it so important to have specific foundation models for the agri-food sector?
Yes, thank you. Maybe I'll start from the last question. In fact, why is it relevant in particular for agriculture? So we have a sector, and the agri-food at large, which is multidisciplinary, if you want. It involves biological processes, so it's quite complex and rich in information, data, knowledge. So to really boost the development of AI in this sector, which is kind of specific, you require the development of specific foundation models that then can address the specific issues, can be further developed to address the different needs of the sector. So we have many areas. We have a lot of the typical case of precision farming. You have a lot of data, sensors, Internet of Things, satellite imagery, which contains a lot of information, which to be used at its best requires strong model and AI capacity. We have, computer vision is also something which is booming in agriculture, in the field, and in the agro-food processing plants. We have robots in the fields more and more for heavy duties, for replacing labor when there is shortage, for addressing when there is need for a special precision. So all of this, I think it requires this kind of strong, specialized foundation models. Of course, we need enabling conditions, we call them. So to develop these big AI models, you need computing power, computing capacity, a large amount of high-quality data, and also a place where you are able to test the models in a safe environment. So for this, the proposal from the Commission on AI factories and data labs, it's crucial because that creates, let's say, they play an important role for foundation models to be deployed in agriculture. So in conclusion, agriculture is, let's say, highly context specific. So we think that the developing sector foundation model will be able to create better quality output, which is in the end is what creates trust. If we have a model which doesn't invent a reply, but it provides a very good and solid reply, then you start to use it more because you trust it.
And Doris, I'd love to get your perspective on this topic as well, from the perspective of DG Connect.
Yes, thank you. So I think I totally agree. So foundation models in agriculture, so the sector-specific approach has really a great and enormous potential for the sector. So and I think I agree totally with the 2 points PLG actually very well elaborated. So the results of AI models, depending on the input data, and let's say if we have specific sector-specific input data, the likelihood that we are more effective with the models and can address more complex questions is very essential. But we may also consider, okay, why are we building the capacities in Europe? So I think for European consumers, it's also essential for us, from our perspective, that they can rely on non-biased data and trusted mechanisms to, let's say, deliver AI-based outcomes. So, and that and the framework, the overall regulatory framework and the capacities built in Europe are circulating around this and consider these principles, which I think are also an asset if we have identified in the farming sector trust as a key challenge for the uptake of AI. So that, I think, is an important element as well, if you look and raise the question why we are building those in Europe. So, and if we now sum up the elements which PLG mentioned and we strategically roll out as, let's say, as a series of actions complementing each other, so from the common European data space, then we have, PLG mentioned the AI factories, then we have support to data annotation and compliance with regulation for the innovators, and then the complementary research and innovation to really seize the opportunities of the latest technical advancements. Then there's one question, so what is now the implication for the farmer? So it's abstract on the one side, the ecosystem, but can the farmer contribute to making AI happen? Not only uptake, and if you now look back on all the points we have discussed, so I think one key element is that the farmer is encouraged to share the data and to contribute to inform AI-based solutions. So, and personally, I would encourage the farmers to make use of trusted data intermediaries and to share it with research and innovation or trusted innovators, which are really delivering in the interest of the farmers and maybe not have their own commercial interests, but really foster also what is needed for farmers and helping them and go ahead. And I think there I would really encourage, and I'm confident, so if the farmers in Europe join up efforts and follow this approach, then they can really make a difference and make AI happen for the farming sector in Europe, because that is a key challenge. And if this principle is followed, I think there could be a great impact.
Absolutely. And, given this momentum of, the farmers really taking on the new innovations that are coming and coming together, I'd love to know, given the current pace of digitalization, what are some of the key opportunities that you think there are within the sector? And what are some of the challenges to leveraging the potential of AI in the sector?
Yeah, I think let's briefly touch on the challenges first. So I think there we can briefly recap. So for sure we have the data access, so in quality and quantity, so both points. Then the trust in AI-based solutions, as well as the capacities to invest in AI-based solutions and the interoperability challenges. So we discussed how, let's say, for instance, interoperability challenges influence cost effectiveness and subsequently negatively the uptake by farmers. So I think that are key points from the Connect perspective which have to be addressed. But opportunities. There are opportunities at the level of the farm, which I see increasing the competitiveness, the sustainability, the resilience. So if you look at the AI models and the capacities on the short, but also on the medium and long term. And then I think the reduction of administrative burden, particularly for instance the generative AI, this potential is not fully exploited yet, and for certainly a key opportunity if we look what the farmers are discussing. And practically speaking now from the process, because we as a Commission look also how to apply AI, making it happen. Then I think one key opportunity is, and here I encourage all the innovators listening today, if you want to achieve trust in AI and you have an innovative solutions, then demonstrate it, what AI can deliver. Make it feasible to the farmer and show that is the impact if you invest here into that and that solution. This could be the cost reduction potential. This could be the reduction in fertilizers you need to spread. So I think if we manage that to communicate and make it feasible and to break it down at a level for the farmer, I think that is a key opportunity as well to make AI happen.
Absolutely. And on that point, I'd love to bring your perspective into this, Pierluigi.
Yes, I will start, let's say, from digitalization, let's say, without AI. We've been trying to understand what is the state of play in European countryside about digitalization. We commissioned a study to the JRC, the Joint Research Center. You can see it on the slide, some of the main findings. So digital increasing the data availability and in turn needing more data creates the preconditions for the deployment of AI. So for the development of AI tools and for the use of AI. But the JRC study also shows some things which are less, let's say, less positive. So on the opportunities, there is a good coverage, as you can see from the slide, of general IT tools. And this, in turn, even if they are not very advanced tools, it means that in the daily processes, in the daily life of a farmer, the IT is already there, the digital tools are already there, and moving to an AI solution shouldn't be too complicated. The other point is that this data, once they are really the good candidate for calculating and generating new foundation models. On the challenges, however, you can also look at the numbers in another way. The data fragmentation and the lack of interoperability, where you can see that unfortunately still there is manual collection of data in more than 50% of the farms. And disconnected systems make the reuse very difficult. Also on the point of view of trust and in the data sharing, the questions and doubt and maybe preconceptions about the privacy, the confidentiality, generate that only, in a way, 61% of the farmers share the data, so there is 39% who don't. And this is a vicious circle because not sharing the data doesn't allow the creation of tailored solution that could really address the problem of these farms. So in conclusion, I would say that digitalization creates, let's say, an enabling layer on which AI can be developed. But we need to be conscious of the reality of agriculture in Europe. It's a Europe with an agriculture which is still in many small farms. We have 2/3 of the farms in Europe which have less than 5 hectares. The average of the size of a farm in Europe is 17 hectares in 2020. So we are not talking only about the big farm. We want to also help the small ones. So for that we need the targeted support for those categories.
Absolutely. And on that note, I'd love to open up the conversation to our audience here. So if you haven't, please do submit any questions you have to the Slido app. So our first question is, what is your vision on how the European Commission can beat the already very advanced foundation models of big tech from the US and China, among others? Wonder who would like to take that one first.
I can make a start, so very general for all the sectors. So I think one key opportunity which we have in Europe, we started with common European data spaces in several sectors, not only in agriculture, but I think DigitalEU elaborated what is the added value of going in and having high quality, very specific data for one topic you would like to address. So meaning we have a, let's say, broadly speaking, a clean data set really focusing on a specific question which is not biased by, let's say, noise in the data, and let's say making it easier to have an effective and very specific and correct answer potentially. And here it might be that really a competitive advantage to build, let's say, and see the portfolio of actions we are working on in Europe, and say, okay, those sector specific assets can really add value. So there's a difference between the large, really large models with all information and then the very specific, let's say, models. But yes.
If I may complement, I think in Europe we have the diversity of our agriculture is also a strength. We are a large exporter of agri-food across the world. Across the world there is appreciation for our quality product. So most, and we are let's say in a modern society with a lot of data. So indeed, this is the preconditions for generating foundation models that are tailored for the EU needs, and that importing something developed in another part of the world may not answer to the questions of our farmers and the large agri-food chain.
And we have another question from the audience. Can you tell us if there is a big difference in the uptake of AI and digitalization by farmers across the EU?
Yeah, I can start on that. We carried out this study with the Joint Research Center. There are other studies also confirming that. Eurostat has published recently pan-European statistics about the uptake of digital. And we see a general pattern, let's say, of adoption of general tools, but much more limited adoption of advanced tools. In spite of the market being more mature, we still have hesitation. And so what we've been discussing here is try to find the reasons for the lack of adoption. Is this lack of financing capacity? Is this fears about trust, about the data? And we're trying to address that with our framework legislation. In Europe, in the last 5 years, we have clear set of rules. We are not in other parts of the world. There are no rules in this area. So I think our companies, our SMEs, can invest in a safe legal framework. So we're trying to address all the questions they ask us, and try to respond with support, framework legislation, and initiatives like Apply AI to boost the use of AI.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think let's say looking at this, let's say, fact and let's say the situation and the challenges identified, and I would also acknowledge the work by the Joint Research Center, because it's very helpful and then allows a foundation for discussing how to go ahead. But if we're discussing today and we say, okay, we need the trust in digital or AI-based solutions, it's also a question of multipliers and stakeholders. Mm-hmm. So we can now speak, but we in Brussels, we speak another language. So it's very important, and it's not only about English, it's also about using other words, making it feasible for the farmers, and it varies even between Austria and Germany. Both speaking German, they have different words for describing the tools. So meaning this is also a call for multipliers to spread the word and build the capacities on the ground to use and seize the opportunities of digital technologies.
Absolutely, and that brings into play an interesting follow-up question from the audience. How are data sharing and interoperability important from the perspective of public administrations?
I can give you a start on this one. I've been working now nearly 30 years in the European Commission in DG Agriculture and Rural Development, and as I mentioned earlier, we've been dealing with a lot of data. It's an old policy, one of the first in European policy. So over the decades, to manage the markets, to evaluate the policy, we have collected a lot of data, both in Brussels. Some data arrives to Brussels, and we may try to make sense of it to do even better policies. But a large part of it stays with the member state. We have a shared management model with the member states. They have the contact with the farmers. They receive most of the data from the farmers. So I think there is a huge potential for this data to be reused beyond the initial purpose, which was mostly managing the payments and the controls. So we've been trying to unlock this, because this data has a value. It's sometimes very personal data, and so finding ways how to unlock this, make them non-confidential, and share it with those who with this data can do a lot, can develop a foundation model, for example.
Absolutely. Would you like to share some thoughts on that, Doris?
I think I have only a small add-on. I think we frequently have the assumption by stakeholders, we get the question, okay, we now have all the sensors, we have multiple or thousands of data points, why do you still need public data? And I think it's very important to highlight that for AI also we need reference data. We need to train models and applications. So we need a benchmark, and public data very much helps to establish it and have the credible benchmark which we can use to train also AI models. So I think despite we have all the new technologies with collecting data, cameras, sensors, let's say for precision farming technologies and so on, there's still very much added value of public data, even if the number of data points might be much lower. So I think that we may not forget. So it looks sometimes traditional statistics, but they're still very, very important for us to achieve the credibility we would like to have.
And I think we have time for one more audience question. Can you give us more specifics about the experimental AI box in agriculture? I don't know if one of you wants to elaborate on that question first.
So the question is the AI box in agriculture or the black box in agriculture?
Well, that's a good question. I have the experimental AI box in agriculture. Sandbox. Sorry.
Okay. Because that makes a difference. I think in general, to make a start, sandboxes are important to make it, let's say, at a very general level, to try AI-based solution not only in agriculture but in several sectors, to achieve, for instance, compliance with legislations, to really avoid any risk to the public. So that is, let's say, the relevance of sandboxes for AI, to make sure that, let's say, first, AI-based solutions are compliant with the legislation, but also to avoid any risks. And for sure, you can then differentiate by different types of sandboxes. Really, it depends a little bit on the focus. I also mentioned the testing at the experimentation facilities, which are a little bit more innovation-oriented, or some sandboxes are focusing more on achieving compliance with the legislations. But that is, across sectors, a very important instrument to achieve also linking requirements and risk management and compliance with the legislation together with innovation on the other side, and to speed up the process to come to the market, and not leaving all innovators alone with this process, but to go together and to manage this process and the cycle in a common ground.
And we did get one more question from the audience that I think we have time for. So Pierluigi, how do we deal with small farm size and fragmentation of European agriculture?
Yes, as I said, the reality of European farming, and it's also one of the, let's say, positive sides of it, is that it's also composed of small holders with small farms, which very often they do very high value added products and they make a good turnover. At the same time, their needs in terms of machinery and are different. They cannot afford a huge connected tractor, and so Europe is also strong at developing small-scale machine for this kind of players. And in terms of digital and AI, I think, especially going into AI, let's say less IT infrastructure based, I think that can help make it more accessible, the tools, to all sides of farms.
Definitely. And to round up our session, I have one final question for you, Doris. As you know, we have another webinar coming up in about 15 minutes that is focused on apply AI in climate and environment. And I'm wondering, in view of this topic, do you see links between the ambitions of using AI in agriculture and using it to enhance environmental performance and climate resistance?
Yes, thank you for the question. So actually, personally, I regard it as a great opportunity that we have both webinars blogs today together and to also interlink the communities. Because I think we have already seen in the discussion agriculture, environment and climate, we talked about risk management, inherently linked. Agriculture is shaping the landscape. On the other side, agriculture also impacts the environment, influences, for instance, how land is used and subsequently which emissions are there, how erosion is prevented and how, let's say, we are enjoying the landscape, for instance. So insofar, if we now imagine we have agriculture and environmental data together, then AI applications become really interesting and there's huge potential behind it to link it. And I think the Commission is also acknowledging this potential. So I mentioned already we have data spaces across sectors. So for instance, we have also a Green Deal data space. And the medium-term objective is really to have the data flows between those data spaces, allowing also cross-sectoral fertilization and data exchanges and to build up on the complementary data sets and going beyond sectorial borders. So insofar, I think it's a great opportunity. And for instance, just to look ahead already a little bit and make you curious for the next blog, so Destination Earth, so where we are looking and forward for a digital twin of the Earth. But this data is pretty relevant for agriculture as well. So it can help to, let's say, inform climate adaptation strategies, for instance. And that is very essential. So AI really helps if you look and go beyond agriculture data as such, then to analyze this data and to inform the sector of strategic decisions. But I think...
Absolutely. And on that note, we would very much encourage our audience here to stay in this space and take part in the next webinar taking place at 3 o'clock, focused on Apply AI and Climate and Environment. Thank you so much to our excellent speakers today for providing your insights, and thank you to you, our audience, for joining us and for engaging in our conversation with your questions. And we hope to see you in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone to our thematic Apply AI webinar dedicated on environment and climate. I'm Emilio Rubino and I'm a legal and policy officer at AI Office in DigiConnect at the European Commission, and I will be moderating this session dedicated on environment and climate. We will be focusing on AI-powered services and application for better forecast Earth observation within the overall effort for us to strengthen our climate resilience and preparedness. I remember that this webinar is interactive, so please feel free to scan our QR code and submit your questions via Slido, as at the end of this session we will ask directly to our speaker some questions submitted directly from you, from the audience. Talking about our speakers, I'm really pleased to host and introduce to you Babis Tsiklakidis, Head of Sector for Destination Earth here in DigiConnect, European Commission, and Irina Sandu from the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast.
Hello, very pleased to be here, thank you.
So we will talk about how AI can play a true and truly transformative role for environment and climate, delving more into our flagship action, Destination Earth. Before starting our conversation, I invite you to watch this video presenting us Destination Earth. Welcome back. I hope you found the video interesting. Let's start with you, Babis. Can you tell us, so the Apply strategy identifies Destination Earth indeed as the flagship action for environment and climate. Can you tell us a bit more and why so?
Yep. So many thanks, Livio, and let me continue from where the video stopped, because I think with the video we got already an idea of what Destination Earth is all about. But let me explain better. Destination Earth is a union's flagship initiative with the aim to provide breakthrough capabilities when it comes to the area of, let's say, actionable predictions of climate change. Now, what does that mean in practice? What we are building with Destination Earth, it's a novel information system that serves as a climate intelligence system that will allow us to gradually build this very accurate digital model, or digital twin, if you like, of the Earth system. So with this system that we are actually putting now in motion, you can use novel, as we said, capabilities, unique tools that we have there that were not existing before, like for example how you can run climate prediction scenarios, ask questions and what if scenarios, how climate change will evolve in the future until 2050, what can I do in order to prepare better my city, and so on and so forth. So one of the main goals is with Destination Earth to, first of all, let's say, make easier this complexity that comes with this kind of prediction, so that non-expert users, together with researchers and scientists, of course, can really capitalize on that, meaning that we can support decision making at various levels, European level, at national, regional, local level, so that public sector authorities, for example, can come and test scenarios regarding the future of climate change, decide on their policies, which one to choose, alternative pathways, but also, of course, to support and stimulate growth. So it's a system that provides also for the industry and private sector tools and data assets that they can come and build on top of Destination Earth. But of course, Destination Earth, as you said, is a key element in the Apply AI strategy. And this is why AI, as we will see during our discussion, it's a core element of Destination Earth. And there, via that, we of course strengthen our let's say, our capacity to tackle the impact of climate change, but also how we can increase our preparedness when it comes to disaster risk management due to the effect and the changes that the climate change is bringing on. So Destination Earth combines vast amounts of data, a lot of supercomputing power, and of course it employs AI in order to proceed and deliver on the final target, which is this digital model of the planet system. And of course, via doing that, as we explained, it also supports the European competitiveness and technological sovereignty, because via Destination Earth we can demonstrate how Europe can really develop, train and operate its own advanced AI models for the Earth system. Finally, to have a better understanding of how we build Destination Earth, there is a nice slide, if we can show it, where you can see that the total investment of Destination Earth is the order of €500 million for the current multi-financial framework, with, of course, investments that come from Horizon Europe and in terms of the research needed for Destination Earth to develop further. And we are building Destination Earth via a partnership with three big institutions: ECMWF, the European Centre for Medium-Range Weather Forecast, the European Space Agency, and EUMETSAT, the European Organization for the Exploitation of Meteorological Satellites. And last point is that I think it's important to mention that we are building Destination Earth also in collaboration, as you can see, with more than 100 organizations across 27 countries, and of course with the involvement of the private sector. So I think this completes a first view of Destination Earth.
Thank you very much. Many information indeed. Moving a bit and focusing a bit more on AI, we hear, Irina, for you, we hear a lot about AI can support your priorities on climate and environment. Based on what have you seen so far, what benefits is AI brings or is already bringing into these domains?
Europe has already built competitive AI models very rapidly, building on the decades of expertise in weather and climate prediction in Europe, as well as a long tradition of collaboration in these domains, and to high quality European data sets. And these models, they are already bringing concrete advantages, and we have a slide to show, for example, that they allow to better predict how the tropical cyclones are localized. They are also allowing to do predictions which are faster, in minutes rather than hours, what a typical numerical prediction model exists. And there are different elements which underpin this so-called AI revolution, which we are taking even further, and we'll talk about that later, to expand it to the entire Earth system modeling, to the entire Earth system in Destination Earth, as Babis mentioned. And these are really the
EuroHPC capabilities, which are really needed to train AI models, are high-quality European data sets like the reanalysis ERA5 produced by the Copernicus Climate Change Service, and like the digital twin data that we are going to talk a bit later on about. But also to specialized tooling frameworks, which allow us to rapidly build these models. One example is the so-called framework Anemoy, which ECMWF, together with many services, meteorological services across Europe, have built, which allow to transform this trusted high-quality data into AI-ready data sets and train AI models on a variety of computers, including the EuroHPC, and rapidly operationalize them. As an example, us at ECMWF, we have operationalized the artificial intelligence forecasting system, which really runs in parallel to our world-class physical models and complements the information we provide users every day. And we really demonstrated that building on decades of expertise in operations, in weather and climate prediction, we can translate that to AI, and we can rapidly build these European capabilities for AI as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the insight. Babis, back to you and back on Destination Health. Also zooming out a bit, can you tell us what has been achieved so far in Destination Health and how this action collaborates with other EU initiatives also described and mentioned in the Apply strategy, but also in the AI Counter Action Plan, as for example the AI factories, the EuroHPC already mentioned by Irina. So how all these initiatives collaborate and support the same goal on environment and climate?
No, that's a very good question. Thank you, Livio. So let me start with the achievements of Destination Earth, and of course we cannot mention all of them. So allow me to pick the let's say the most important ones. With Destination Earth, we are running at a scale that has never seen before. What do we mean again with that? For example, with Destination Earth, we are providing a system that can support the competent public sector authorities in the member states that they are there to issue early warnings in case of a catastrophe, of a storm coming, for example, or a hurricane. They do have their own systems, but Destination Earth provides them now with, let's say, tools that they can really zoom in and go down to, let's say, some 100 meters resolution, and they can see how the storm or the whatever else extreme weather event is happening, how this will evolve in the next 2 days. This is something that this accuracy and this resolution doesn't exist today, and this is how we help all of this, as I said, public sector authorities to help also in turn the populations, in the various member states to be prepared for what is coming. In this case, the extreme weather events. But also we are working, and this is also significant, as we said, in the prediction for climate change. So there we have simulations that go for the moment up to 2050. So how climate change will evolve up to 2050, and we will even go beyond that. At some point we will reach 2100. But we are doing it again at a resolution that doesn't exist today operationally. So we are talking about a resolution of around 5.5 kilometers, while the current global standard is at 100 kilometers. So it's a huge difference in the level of accuracy that we bring with Destination Earth. And this is very important for everyone that is working on climate change. And then we have, as this slide is showing, new powerful capabilities. This is what we call in Destination Earth the storylines of past extreme events. And what we are actually doing there is that we can take a previous extreme weather event, in this case is the 2019 heat wave that hit France, and we can recreate it, replay it, if you like, both in the past and into the future under specific conditions. For example, you can see how the same heat wave would look like in France in 2049 in a +2 degrees warmer world. And I think this is quite powerful. It demonstrates what we can achieve today with Destination Earth. Now, as you also mentioned, what is the relationship of Destination Earth with major AI activities like the AI factories? Of course, Destination Earth is going to be connected with a factory so that we can make available our data assets, and we will also use the AI factories in order to train new models there. And the core action that we have in the apply strategy, again, this slide shows that very clearly, in the climate and environment section of the apply strategy, Destination Earth is the flagship initiative. Again, where we are already started building a frontier AI model of the Earth system, plus a number of other AI tools that Irina can mention also afterwards. So you can see already that, first of all, we are going very far in terms of AI, the application of AI in this domain. And this is only possible because we have the AI factories now coming in. We have also the previous computing capacity from the JU. And since we are talking about the AI factories, it's not only that the factories will bring an infrastructure of thousands of, let's say, processors that are tailored to support AI activities. The factories are actually representing a huge ecosystem that also provides for training, acquisition of new skills for the developers, the startups, the SMEs, also tools and services that they will need in order to develop further. So you have all the elements that you need there, plus, of course, the data assets that we will make available via Destination Earth, so that we can facilitate, as I said again, and stimulate growth, so that we can provide all of this to both researchers and developers and startups and SMEs, so that we can really move beyond what exists today in this area.
Yes, thank you very much. Fascinating. Keep talking about Destination Earth, Irina. How does it take Europe's AI capabilities for environment and climate even further?
Yes, so basically we are expanding from AI weather prediction, where we have arrived so far, towards modeling the entire Earth system with AI. And this is underpinned by Destination Earth, digital twins. And I think we first have a short video on the AI activities in Destination Earth. Maybe if we could play that.
Artificial intelligence has the potential to transform how we respond and adapt to climate change and extreme events. Destination Earth, the EU initiative to develop a digital twin of the Earth system, is fully exploiting AI to enhance the capabilities of its digital twins. This means AI can help us simulate faster, explore more scenarios, and make models and simulations more accessible to a wider range of users. Let's take a closer look. By combining high-resolution digital twin outputs with Europe's most powerful Euro HPC supercomputers, DestinE provides a unique foundation for building the next generation of AI models for the Earth system. At the heart of this is the Digital Twin Engine, the innovative software infrastructure developed within DestinE. It manages workflows and machine learning pipelines, transforming simulation data into training data sets, enabling the development of AI-based Earth system models at scale. Thanks to this powerful infrastructure, DestinE is developing a European AI-based Earth system model by building modular components for key domains, such as land, ocean, hydrology, sea ice, and waves. These components will be coupled with existing models like ECMWF's AIFS to form a flexible, AI-driven Earth system model. These components already show promising results, simulating events with great accuracy at impressive speeds. But it does not stop there. DestinE is also developing a climate emulator to replicate some of the climate digital twin's key outputs with much lower computational costs. AI and machine learning activities in DestinE also enhance interactivity through AI-based solutions designed to make the system more usable and accessible. For example, the forecast in a box concept packages AI models into ready-to-use pipelines from data input, simulation and post-processing to visualization. It will enable users to run and adapt AI simulations on their own infrastructure. The weather and climate chatbot allows users to interact with digital twin outputs using natural language, making complex simulation data easier to explore and interpret. Together, these AI developments enhance DestinE's accessibility and usability for sectors sensitive to climate change. They also contribute to Europe's broader AI ecosystem, including the EU AI factories, fostering the development of innovative AI-driven climate solutions. All of this is made possible through close collaboration between AI, physics, and HPC experts across Europe, supporting resilience, competitiveness, and informed climate action for the future.
So this gave you a glimpse of the rich set of activities we are doing in Destination Earth. We are building, as you saw, our system models, but what really underpins this is the digital twins. And Bobby's mentioned this a bit, but now I want to show you one of the simulations which underpins the AI models while giving new capabilities to Europe, to the public sector, to SMEs, to industry. So what is really an achievement in Destination Earth is in a very short time, in a few years, we have built these digital twins for weather and for weather extremes and climate. We are doing now robust production of climate and extreme weather simulations on Europe's biggest supercomputers at scales at which you can see here. It's exactly what Bobby said before. You can see the level of detail. You can see tropical cyclones. This is a simulation from the climate run at 5 kilometers. And you can see that it basically reproduces the Earth system at scales at which the impacts of extreme events such as tropical cyclones or heat waves are actually felt. And it provides the information needed both to support decision maker to adapt and prepare to extreme events, but it also provides the training material, the prime material for Europe's AI factories and the Euro HPC to create this new generation of models. And we had another slide, I think, which is showing that based on this rich data complemented by other European data sets like those produced by Copernicus, by observations, we then build models for these different aspects of their system. In these models, we couple them in a Earth system to build Europe's first AI Earth system model, but they also are standalone and they can support sectors like the ones you have been discussing today, agriculture, water management. For example, what you see in the top video there, you can see basically the soil moisture, how much water is in the soil in Europe, and that was a particularly dry season for summer 2022 when there was a lot of drought in Europe. So doing these AI models where you can quickly simulate how soil moisture, for example, behaves, allows to inform about drought, about crop impacts. We also can simulate, that's what shows at the bottom with AI now, river discharge, how much water flow there is in a river during a flooding case. And this again supports water management, supports better preparedness. So we are really building these capabilities to support sectors which are sensitive to climate change and to run them alongside physical models. And what is really extraordinary is the advancements that were done in Europe in such a short time, where we don't only develop these models, but we also operationalize them to run them daily along the physical models and complement existing European capabilities, really supporting the Apply AI Act.
Thank you very much. Really fascinating to hear.
And one more thing, if I can add just one thing here, one thing which is also important is that we are not only constructing the model, but we are also constructing tools to lower the entry barrier for users to use these models, like what you saw in the video about the forecast in a box, or which means basically packaging an AI model so that it's easier for users to deploy it where they want on their own architecture or on the AI factory, or run it from the DestinE platform in the future, to configure, run it, to choose their own AI model, and to even visualize plots. So it's really this interactivity of the DestinE system that we are aiming to build in the next period in phase 3.
Yes. Thank you much, and thank you for stressing this. I'm sure that our audience found it really interesting and useful. Babis, back to you. Can you tell us how this AI development within DestinE Curve connects with the Commission's broader goals related to climate resilience and preparedness, also in the view under the Apply strategy?
Yes. So again, continuing from the connection of Destination Earth with AI factories, as we mentioned before, I think it's important also to mention that we are not building Destination Earth in a vacuum. So Destination Earth is part of the Green Deal data space, which makes it part of the overall, again, ecosystem of the common European data spaces. And there we have all the ingredients, if you like. We have the data that we need to enable a cross-fertilization between domains and impact sectors like agriculture and energy and even health. We have the compute power of the AI factories, and then we will have the glue that it will interconnect all of this together, which is what we call the simple, so the smart middleware that we are also developing in the Commission in parallel, so that we can connect the dots. So all, as I said, the major elements, all the ingredients of this magic recipe are there. And with Destination Earth, we will accelerate practically these developments in order to get practical climate solutions. So in this case, with Destination Earth, I think what is important to stress is that we are moving from cutting edge research to real world solutions. So this in turn enables and helps Europe to transition from breakthrough modeling of the Earth system to applied innovation. And this, in this case, is applied AI innovation, because all that you have seen, these are already there, existing. So they are, it's not just on, again, in the lab, they are part of the overall system of Destination Earth, and they are ready to be used. So we are in this way giving member states, public authorities, the private sector, academia and research the necessary tools that they need to develop further. And via this kind of engagement with the industry and the private sector for them to develop tools for the public sector, we actually serve the purpose of the Apply strategy. And we always do that by keeping very high the major principles from the strategy when it comes to trustworthiness of the AI, safeguarding our European democratic values, and of course transparency in the way that we create and run models like this. And I think this is also important to mention, that it's not just AI for the sake of AI, it's AI in this context as we described under the Apply strategy.
Thank you. Irina, delving a bit more on AI, how are you ensuring that the AI in Destination Curve is developed and used in an ethical, transparent and trustworthy way?
Very good question. Indeed, Destination Earth has a dedicated work to on ethical and responsible AI, and by developing practical guidelines and checklists on one hand to ensure that those who are developing the AI models and use them follow these guidelines and are in line with the Apply AI strategy. The second thing is that for building trust and transparency, you know, we are again building on community practices of decades of experience in this European community of doing that in crucial domains like climate, environment, weather, and different impact sectors. And there, what matters is to verify, to run these new capabilities, these new AI models daily, expose them to users alongside the physical models, verify them by comparing them with observations and with the physical-based models, but also documenting them, explaining how they were built, how they were trained, explaining their added value and advantages, but also transparently explaining their limitations, and discussing that with the community so that trust is built in these new capabilities, and that informed decision making can be made by authorities or industry, etc.
Thank you. Really important topic and elements indeed. Okay, one last question for the both of you. How do you see this? So looking a bit ahead, you talk about what has been achieved, what's the path that we are ongoing, but look a bit in the coming years. How do you see these AI developments shaping Europe's indeed efforts on climate resilience and preparedness? Babis, let's start with you.
Yes, first of all, as we said, the Destination Earth journey is far from over. We still have a long road ahead of us to develop further all of these new capabilities. So we have the ones that you have seen already in the pipeline, others are ready, others are coming. And the future, I think it looks very promising with all these new elements coming into play. And Destination Earth in this case embodies actually the European vision, which is about a union that it leads through science, it invests in innovation, but also protects people and the planet. And here allow me to say that with Destination Earth we serve a greater cause. We are not just modeling the Earth, we are trying to shape a better future for the planet. And this is our mission, if you like, this is what we are trying to do. And in this context we already mentioned the role of AI, the opportunities that are coming are already there for both the public and the private sector, but also for academia and research. We are organizing, lately we had this workshop that we organized, a big one, 2 days, really looking at how AI and machine learning in particular can actually advance us in this area. So what are the new developments, what we need to do, but of course the challenges that we are already facing, and Irene already mentioned one of the biggest ones, which is how to create trust, because we are talking about new elements, and also about prediction, so a glance into the future. So it's not easy, but I think we are getting there, and as I said, this is the uniqueness of Destination Earth. So again, for me, it's a very promising future with a number of activities coming, with a number of opportunities to engage with all the major stakeholders in all areas, public, private sector. We organized also a contest for startups, so for them to come and show us how they can really develop forward-looking tools and applications, and we will continue, of course, with hackathons and so on and so forth. So it's the overall effort that we see feeding into the whole process of ensuring that Europe will advance all of these AI capabilities, as we said, in a way that is in line with apply strategy, and we create trustworthy deliverables and results. And I think this will take us further. So it's very promising. As I said, to close this part, there are a number of applications, tools, and services that you will find already in Destination Earth. You have seen also what is coming, so stay tuned for more. That will be my end sentence.
Good to know. Irina.
I agree with Babis, the future is bright. I think because of this long tradition of pooling resources across Europe and knowledge and expertise, because of the vision and sustained investment from the European Commission and DG Connect in particular, and the decades of expertise in doing operations for weather and climate in Europe, we are really in a very good place to establish European leadership in this domain and to not only deploy AI models, but also scale them and operationalize them very fast. On the short term, we are going to upgrade the Earth system components you saw and couple them to build this first AI Earth system model. On the longer term, the Destination Earth data, digital twin data, will not only feed in the AI or system model, but it will really feed in a new generation of AI applications for climate and environment, which is our topic today. And this is again thanks to European and national investments in supercomputing capabilities as well, like the AI factories and gigafactories which are upcoming. So I'm really confident that we are in an excellent place to deliver the apply AI strategy in action for climate and environment.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, we would like to address you some questions directly from the audience. But first of all, we talked about all what's coming and the road to many information. Can we, Babis, maybe can you clarify a bit more briefly the timeline and the phases? Because we mentioned phase 2, phase 3, so for the audience, can you explain us and give us a clearer timeline and the phases of destination curve?
Yes, of course. I mean, so we are building Destination Earth gradually, as we said. In this current, let's say, multi-financial framework, we have 3 phases. We finished the first one back in June 2024, where the first release of the system was there. We celebrated the launch of Destination Earth. Now we are getting very close to the end of the second phase, which is going to be June this year. And during this phase now, you have seen already some of the achievements that we managed to create and deliver. We already started the work on the AI, so even in the frontier AI model of the Earth system and the other AI capabilities that Irina demonstrated. And then we will continue with phase 3. Which will start back to back, of course. So we will start in June this year, and we will go until June 2028, bridging the 2 budget periods, the current multi-financial framework and the next one, so that there is also continuity there. And during phase 3, we'll of course complete all of these activities that are related to both AI and non-AI capabilities, and we will prepare the ground for the transition of Destination Earth to the new era, to the new, again, financial framework, where you will see the plans for what we will call Destination Earth 2.0. So this is more or less a snapshot of the roadmap.
Thank you very much. I have a question for you. Who can or will be able to use Destination Earth? We mentioned different actors, right? Authorities, but also SMEs and other actors, if you can.
Yeah, the access to Destination Earth is modular, so everyone can have access to the basic, let's say, functionalities of Destination Earth. And then you can get the so-called upgraded access, or the full access, and we have all kinds of user categories. So I think we are not excluding someone. We have academia and research, we have public sector authorities, including, of course, commission services, but also, again, users from all levels, national, regional, local levels. We have the industry and the private sector, targeting a lot, as we said, startups and SMEs. So I think all kinds of user categories are there. They can come and they can start using Destination Earth, give us feedback, help us to improve, help us understand what is missing. So we really value the feedback from our users, because this is how we would like to evolve. We are not doing Destination Earth in a vacuum. We would like to have Destination Earth serving our users. So it's an open call for everyone to come join us on board on Destination Earth. And for the private sector, and I will finish with that, there are 2 pathways. They can either come and use what is existing there in order to develop further capabilities, but they can also come and become solution providers of Destination Earth. So they can onboard, as we say, on the platform of Destination Earth and provide their own tools and applications there. So this is also the other way that we engage with the private sector.
Okay. Thank you for the answer, Babis. I have a further question. Can you give a concrete example of how the Destination Earth can be used to adapt the European economy to a changing climate?
That's a very good one. With Destination Earth, first of all, I think, and Irina can also complement here, because we can do this kind of climate change prediction, we can help in the development of tools that are related, for example, to financial risk analysis, which is something that the banking sector, for example, could use. Also, we can support, let's say, institutions that come, or companies that even are related to the insurance part, real estate, because we can provide them with also predictions that they can use gradually in their own models, so that they can improve the way they work. Because, I mean, knowing how the climate change will evolve is crucial in a number of impact sectors and domains, as we mentioned. So this is how, these are at least two ways that I would imagine that Destination Earth can help, but there are others. I mean, I can also come up with another example. With our work, both from the extreme weather events prediction and climate change, for example, you can help, let's say, the part of the economy and the industry that is working on renewable energy, because you can help them to plan better how to position their wind farms, and what happens if a storm is coming and how this will affect others, because the grids are interconnected. So they can use Destination Earth data and capabilities in order to do this kind of simulations, and this helps them, of course, to plan better for the future. I don't know.
That's a very good example. Maybe I can just one thing. The one thing which is novel in particular about the climate change digital twin is that it doesn't only provide climate data like wind or temperature, but it also has the tools to translate that raw climate data into information relevant for impact sector. For example, in particular for energy, it transforms wind speeds into capacity factors for wind turbines, allowing to better plan where to plant the turbines, but also when to shut them down if there are events which can damage the turbines. So all this information, this translation of information from climate to impact sector information, it's something novel, and there will be a new set of climate data, more complete, and also with this impact sector information attached by the end of phase 2, so this summer sometimes. And it would be great if people can go on the platform, access this information, and like Bobby said, give us feedback and really demonstrate the added value what we are of these new capabilities which we are constructing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, we had another question, but maybe briefly in terms of AI, what are the plans to make the best use of it within Destination Earth? But I think you already answered on this. Well, after this, I thank you very much, both of you, for this excellent overview and for all this information that you provided us and to the audience. On explain on how the player strategy and all the action already being are instrumental for our climate resilience and preparedness for environment and the climate sector. So I thank you again.
Thank you also.
Thank you very much.
I thank you the audience to have followed this webinar. Before to say goodbye, I would like to recall here the Apply AI Alliance, a framework which provides us a place where for engagement with a broader community on AI related topic, where the community, so the stakeholders can inform the Commission and the wider community about AI, on AI topics, so on providing information, and where the Commission provides information on AI policies, action to the wider community. So I thank you again to follow this webinar. I thank you again our speakers, and I remind to the audience to stay tuned for the next Apply AI webinar having place in May on telecommunication. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for listening.
Thank you.